Hare Krishna. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare हरिनाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की समवेत भक्त वृंद की निताई गौर प्रेमानंदी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Reading from Canto 3, Chapter 5, chapter entitled Vidura's Talks with Maitreya, text number 7. Kridan vidhatte dvijago suranam क्षेमाय कर्माण्य अवतार भेदैः मनो न तृप्यत्यपि शृण्वतां न शुश्लोकमौलिश्चरितामृतानि क्रीडन् विधत्ते द्विजगोऽसुराणाम् क्षेमाय कर्माण्यवतार भेदैः मनो न तृप्यत्यपि शृण्वतां नः शुश्लोकमौलिश्चरितामृतानि क्रीडन् विधत्ते द्विजगोऽसुराणाम् क्षेमाय कर्माण्यवतार भेदैः मनो न तृप्यत्यपि शृण्वतां नः शुश्लोकमौलिश्चरितामृतानि Vaishnavis, क्रीडन् विधत्ते द्विजगो सुराणा. Translation and purport. Translation. You may narrate also about the auspicious characteristics of the Lord in his different incarnations for the welfare of the twice-born, the cows and the demigods. Our minds are never satisfied completely, although we continuously hear of his transcendental activities. Purport. We are reading from other half of the purport. Half was covered yesterday. The demigods or the living entities who live in the higher planets are far superior to human beings since they have better arrangements for living conditions. They are far more luxuriously than human beings, yet they are all devotees of the Lord. The Lord incarnates in different forms, such as those of a fish, a tortoise, a hog, and a combined lion and man, just to give protection to civilized man, the cow, and the demigods, who are directly responsible for the regulative life of progressive self-realization. The whole system of material creation is planned so that the conditioned souls may have the opportunity for self-realization. One who takes advantage of such an arrangement is called a demigod or civilized man. The cow is meant to help maintain such a high standard of living. The Lord's pastimes for the protection of the twice-born civilized men, the cows and the demigods are all transcendental. A human being is inclined to hear good narrations and stories, and therefore there are so many books, magazines and newspapers on the market to satisfy the interests of the developed soul. But the pleasure in such literature after it is read once becomes stale, and people do not take any interest in reading such literature repeatedly. In fact, newspapers are read for less than an hour and then thrown in the dustbins as rubbish. The case is similar with all other mundane literatures, but the beauty of the transcendental literatures like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam is that they never become old. They have been read in the world by civilized man for last 5,000 years, and they have never become old. They are ever fresh to the learned scholars and devotees, and even by daily repetition of the verses of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, there is no satiation for devotees like Vidura. Vidura might have heard the pastimes of the Lord many times before he met Maitreya, but he still wanted the same narrations to be repeated because he was never satiated by hearing them. That is the transcendental nature of the Lord's glorious pastimes. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Yuddha Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So we welcome all of you to the daily morning Srimad Bhagavatam class. At the beginning I would like to say we are like the 11th batsman. When no one else is available, we are called in. Sometimes warm-up is also not done properly. Anyway, so this chapter is entitled Vidura's Talks with Maitreya. So Vidura over here is asking Maitreya Muni to glorify Lord Krishna. Shukdev Goswami in the 10th canto he mentions that just like Ganga, river Ganga purifies the three worlds, upper worlds, middle worlds, planetary systems and lower planetary systems. Similarly, Krishna Katha, it purifies three types of people. One who is speaking, one who is hearing, and one who is asking the question. Vasudeva Katha Prashna, Purusham Strin Punatihi, Vaktaram Prachakam, Shrotrim Stad Pada Salilam Yatha. So here, Maitreya Muni is the Vakta, and the one who is questioning is Vidura, Prokchukam, and we all are the Shrota, who are also benefited. So Vidura is asking to glorify Shushloka Maulesh Charitamritani, but then initially he says, Mano na tripyate api shrinvatamna. The third line of the verse. Mano na tripyate. So he's saying that our minds are never satisfied completely even though we hear about the Lord. So when I read this verse, I was a bit of intrigued that even the spiritual persons, they say that they are not satisfied. And materialists also say that they are not satisfied. I'll just give a few examples. In Srimad Bhagavatam first canto, the sages of Naimisharanya, they request Suta Goswami and they say the same word, Vayam tuna vipitrayama, that we are not satisfied, vitripyama, uttama shloka vikrame. Similarly, in the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna is saying, Bhuya katha triptir hi Shrinvato nasti memritam. He is saying he is not satisfied. The sages are saying they are not satisfied. Here Vidura is saying manona tripyati. So we can say these all are in the spiritual line. In the 9th canto, King Yayati, there's a story of this King Yayati. He tells his son, he is cursed to become old by his father-in-law. So then he tells his son this shloka. He says, Mata maha kritam vatsa na tripto vishayeshu aham. We have heard Pitamaha. Pitamaha is grandfather from the father's side. And he's saying to his son that your grandfather means maternal, Mata maha, grandfather from the maternal side, he has given me old age. But what is happening is that na tripteshu vishayeshu aham. I am not satisfied in enjoying sense objects. Vishay, and then he is saying, Rasya katipaya samaha vayasa badhiyena. Ki you give, he was given a benediction after he got the curse of old age, that he can replace his old age with some young man. So then he requested his youngest son Puru that he is not satisfied. So there comes the question that the materialist who is engaged in enjoying the senses is not satisfied. Spiritual persons are saying, na triptoham, mano na triptoham, vayam tu na vitripyama. So who is right? The materialists say that the spiritualists are wrong. The spiritualists say that materialists are wrong. We'll analyze this today. Normally, when we say to the persons who are not in spiritual life that this world is a place of suffering, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, dukkhalayam ashashvatam. Many don't feel that they are agreeing to this proposal. I remember one time I was distributing some books at a book table at one of the stations in CBD Belapur. So I had Bhagavad Gita in hand, and one young person came on motorcycle. He skid his motorcycle in front of my table and said, "What is this?" I said, "This is Bhagavad Gita." So then he said, "Why do I need Bhagavad Gita? Can you tell me?" I said, "This material world is a place of misery, you know." So then he replied, "I'm fine, I'm healthy, my bike is good, my health is good, I have money in the pocket, I have a girlfriend also, and I'm enjoying life. Material world is not miserable for me." And then I was just holding the Gita, he pulled his bike up and went away, the smoke in my face. With Bhagavad Gita, only my teeth were white. I'm just exaggerating. But then I was like wondering that, what am I selling? I mean, are people really suffering or are they enjoying? So that is the case. So material solution usually is based on two things. Either the pleasure of the body or some happiness in the mind. That's what the body is made up of. Either the gross senses, eyes, nose, sense objects. Shabda, rasa, gandha, rupa, sparsha. Many varieties are there in this whole material world. And Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he also says, representing us, that Gopinath mama nivedana suno. Mana je pagal mora. My mind is not in my control. Vishaya roye che ghora. It is crying for all these types of sense objects. In November 1976, Srila Prabhupada, November 26 in Vrindavan, he was giving a talk, and he mentioned that one time he happened to sit with his neighbor, Dinanath Mishra. In his house he was sitting. So there was one woman who came for cleaning. Cleaning woman came with a bucket and cleaning stick, and she was covering her head with the cloth of a sari. And she was shyly standing because she did not want to pass in between. They were sitting on two sides. So then Prabhupada explains that because of her restraint, we both had to get up and give way. So this is how he said that restraint is respected. So similarly, Prabhupada said that the mind which is controlled is desirable. Normally, mind has a tendency of yato yato nischalati. It's going from one place to another to another. And then Prabhupada said that there's a saying in Bengali which says, Etan nutan kichu koro. Do something new. Always jump to a newer thing, newer thing, newer thing. So in general we see people are buying new phones, new toys, even children. Always you give them a toy, they will, after some playing for some time, they will say, whatever is in the shop they want, new toy. दुकान में वो They are always attracted to the new one. New relationships. People after who are watching YouTube, Instagram, reel after reel. Next video will make me happy. Next content will make me satisfied. Continuously they are changing. What to speak, even in spiritual circles, people are searching for some techniques, some mind control, something which is different to achieve their meditation. So like this, one keeps on jumping from one exciting thing to another. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that Avritam jnanam etena jnanino nitya vairina kama rupena kaunteya dushpurena analena cha. Dushpurena means it's never satisfied. This type of jumping, continuously changing from one sense object to another sense object, it just leads to more and more suffering, never satisfied. There's a story of a man who was living in a society and small kids used to play cricket. So they used to make noise. Sometimes the ball used to hit his window of his flat house. So initially he used to tell them, don't play. They used to go for some time and start playing again. So then he devised a plan. One day he went to the kids. He told them, actually I'm very happy that you are playing and it makes me more youthful and gives me energy. I like to see kids playing like that. Now I am old. So because you are giving me so much of happiness, I want to reward you. So he took out a 10 rupee note and gave to each one of them. And he said, thank you for playing and keep playing every day, keep coming. So like this, they felt nice, okay, we are playing, we are enjoying and we are getting paid for it also. And then like this 1 week he continued. You take 10 rupees, keep playing. Then next, second week onwards, he came and he said, you take only 5 rupees because my business is not working so well, some financial problems. But don't worry, once it goes well, then I will again make up for it. So they looked at the 5 rupee. Nowadays 5 rupee notes not available, just the coin. They said, okay, we'll manage. But make sure you make it up once your business comes. So then he said, yes, surely. And then for 1 week he kept giving them 5 rupees. After another week, he came to them, folded his hands and said that, actually my business is really going down. So I can only say thank you. I can't pay you anything, but I'll surely pay you once my business goes well. So then the kids were thinking that we cannot play like that. We are giving you happiness and you are not even paying us. Chalo re. And so they collected their wickets and they went. So this is how the story is about how there is diminishing pleasure in material happiness. Although the goal was playing cricket, they forgot it. Similar, the material happiness is like that, we want less and we get diminishing. That it's called law of diminishing returns. It's like a sugar cane which we put in the machine. First lot of sweet juice comes. Afterwards you put the same thing, fold it back. Less, 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 like that. So Narottam Das Thakur, he sings, Samsara Vishanale Diva Nishi Hiya Jwale Juraite na koi no upaye. That in this world of Vishaya or poison, Vish and Vishaya, it is said Vish, it kills one body. Poison kills one body. But attraction and attachment to Vishaya, Rupa, Rasa, Ranga, Gandha, Sparsha, it takes many lives because the attachment remains in the mind. That's how it has come in this life to our minds also. So, samsara vishanale diva nishi hiya jwale. My body is burning day and night because of the sense objects. So, that is one thing. We are just analyzing the material part now. We'll also take the spiritual. So, there are three things that source is limited, the sense objects and the ability of the senses to enjoy them is limited. Whereas spiritual aspect is that you can think of Krishna, remember Krishna, and there is no limit to it. It is like the sense objects initially look like a oasis, but when we go to them, it is like a puddle. So then we keep on running from one puddle, we drink water, finished, next puddle, next puddle. But spiritual thing is like a huge ocean. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pratipadam Purnamrita Aswadanam. It is a ocean of Anand. Anand Ambudhi. Ambudhi means ocean. Pratipadam Purnamrita Aswadanam. The bliss keeps expanding. And even Yamunacharya, great Acharya, he says that Yadavadhi mama cheta Krishna padarvinde. Since the time my mind has engaged in the lotus feet of Krishna, Yadavadhi, Nava Nava Rasa Dhamni Udyatum Rantum Asid. I am relishing newer and newer taste, newer pleasure. Nava Nava Rasa Dhamni Udyatum Rantum Asid. To give an example which is relatable, something like, although it cannot be compared to the spiritual pleasure. Suppose we get nice foodstuffs every day. One day chole bhature, another day pizza and Sprite, another time idli, dosa, next day what can be pani puri, other day dahi vada, chaat, dabeli, another day anguri rabdi, next day means Nava Rasa Dhamni. Jalebi with unsweetened milk, hot milk. Then mango season coming, Amras Puri. Nava Rasa Dhamni. We can go on. Indian cuisine is so much. We can have simple curd rice with that red chili filled with salt and lemon leaves. I cannot, please forgive me if I do not take the name of some cuisine. Bengali shukto, that also nice. And someday plain khichdi with golden A2 ghee and maybe some dahi and pickle is also good. So just, I mean, they cannot compare, but it is the way we can relate that Nava Rasa Dhamni Rantum Asid. Why we give this material example? Just like in Shastra when Krishna's beauty is compared, some examples are given like his eyes are like petals of a lotus, his feet are soft like butter, his teeth are like pomegranate seeds, his lips are red like the bimba fruit, his body is like 24 and a half moons, the nails are moons, the cheeks are moons. So, and then I have heard it is said that it is compared like that, the whole body is like the newly formed cloud, monsoon cloud. Because we can relate to these items. We know a lotus, we know a newly formed cloud, we know the moon. But Krishna is much more beautiful. Sometimes his dhoti is compared to a lightning, yellow, pitambar. So, Srila Prabhupada in Bhagavad Gita, one shlok is there, Na tad bhasyate suryo, na shashanko na pavaka, yad gatva na nivartante tad dhama paramam mama. So, in the purport he says that there is a spiritual world where there is no need of the sun or the moon or electricity, and yad gatva, once one goes, na nivartante. He does not come back. And Prabhupada explains that one should be captivated by this information, that there is a world like that, there is a spiritual world. And then he says that if one is not captivated by that, and he does not try to go back to that place, then he is captivated by this material energy. And what is the result? Bhutva bhutva praliyate. Again birth, again death. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jathare shainam. Again there is a birth, again there is a death, again and again you go into the womb of a mother. That is what goes on. So this type of comparison to the material objects is also called in Sanskrit as Chandra Shakhanyaya. Like there is a mother who wants to show the moon to the small child. Sometimes the moon is in so far off place that a child cannot see where is it in the sky. So then the mother says, okay, can you see the tree in front of our house? Okay, you just go and you look between one big branch there and another big branch, and between the two branches, can you see the moon? So that is called as Chandra Shakhanyaya. So you show the material items and then you show what is the highest item, like that. So that way. And spiritual rasa is like, suppose if some of you have tried doing Nirjala fasting, Ekadashi. Yesterday was Ekadashi, in case somebody did a Nirjala Ekadashi. So the next day, all our taste buds are fully on. Even the simple lemon juice, it's like nectar going down our throats. Even the simplest of kurmura, it tastes like so crunchy, so tasty. Imagine having that all year round, all your life. That type of taste. Just I'm comparing. So that's how the spiritual taste is. And this material world is programmed in such a way that we are meant to suffer. I'll explain it with an example. During our college days, there used to be yearly fair. There used to be many stalls. Some pizza stall, food stall, some games and all. One of the stalls was called as 7 up, 7 down. What was that 7 up, 7 down? So there were 2 dice. Mostly we avoid dice, but dice is like, it has 6 sides, a cube, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 5, 6. So there has to be 2 dice and they have to be flicked, and 3 counters were there. So among the 2 dice, the minimum could come was 2, 1 and 1. And what's the maximum that can come? 6 and 6. So the number can come from 2 to 12. So there were 3 counters. One is written 7, one is 7 up, and one is 7 down. I'm just explaining how the material world is geared towards suffering. So if you put money on 7 down, then because you can get from 2 to 12, you can get 2, or you can get 3, you can get 4. If you put suppose 10 rupees on 7 down, and if that comes, you will get 20 rupees back. If you put on 7 up, and that comes, you will get 20 rupees. 10 ka 20, double. And if you put on 7, and if 7 comes, it can come like 6 and 1, 5 and 2, 3 and 4. Then you'll get 3 times the money. If you put 10 rupees, you'll get 30 rupees. Now we can just see these places are made in such a way, if they are made to give money, just for giving money, then they will not put the stall, right? They have to be in profit. Suppose if a person puts 10 rupees on all of the 3, 7 up 10, 7 10, and 7 down 10. Just thinking that at least one of the 3 will come. So even if he has invested 30 rupees, even if he gets 7, at max he will end up with no profit, no loss. He will get 30 rupees back. And mostly that 7 is a rare possibility. He might be just getting 20 rupees back. So he is losing 10 rupees. So the example is that this material world is made in such a way that there is suffering. I'll explain a little more further. Krishna says in Gita also, Daivihi esha gunamayi mama maya durattaya. That my maya is very difficult to cross over. Maam eva ye prapadyante maya metam tarantite. If you surrender to me, then you can cross beyond it. In the purport, there is the mention of combined man-lion incarnation of the Lord. So, Narsimhadev. So there is a brief history I would like to give about how people in the world have tried to become the controllers of this material energy. Hiranyakashipu, I'll just give a brief history. He did severe tapasya. He stood on the toes of his feet. Both his hands were up. He looked up, kind of a tadasan. And he was meditating. And his meditation, tapasya, was so much that for hundreds of years he didn't eat or drink anything. And there was an ant hill over his body. the ants and worms ate away all his flesh, and he was just moving his life airs in the bones of his body. And there was a tremendous heat produced from his hairs and hands. And it was so much troublesome that just like at the end of when there's a dissolution, when this world comes to an end, it is said the sun becomes very tivra, bright. That was the heat coming out of his body. And the oceans were agitated. The demigods could not tolerate the heat, and the Devtas went to the Brahmaji. And the earth was trembling. They told Brahmaji that kindly control your disciple, because he is worshipping you and we are in trouble. We cannot tolerate the heat. So Brahmaji went on his swan with Daksha Prajapati and Bhrigu Muni. And then, first of all, he could not spot where Hiranyakashipu is, because he was covered with the ant hill and so many bamboos. And then, once he spotted that this is the place, he took some kamandalu and sprinkled it with water. And Hiranyakashipu immediately got a golden, strong body. So strong that even thunderbolt could not harm it. And it is said, just like a fire comes out of the fuel wood, he came out of the ant hill. And seeing Lord Brahma, he got symptoms of ecstasy. He fell down flat, offered obeisances. And Brahmaji said, you have done such great tapasya. Nobody has ever done it before. Nobody will ever be able to do it before. Even this Bhrigu and Daksha who are with me, they have never been able to forego water and food for hundreds of lifetimes. So, please get up. And Hiranyakashipu immediately got up. With tears in his eyes, he started glorifying Brahma. He said, you are the origin of life. You are the controller of this universe. And you are the best of, and finally he says, you are the best of givers of benediction. So kindly give me this benediction. He had his agenda ready. He said, give me the benediction that I may not be killed by anyone created by you, neither inside the house or outside the house, nor in air, nor on earth, nor inside the water, neither in the day nor at the night, by not a living thing or a non-living thing, no weapons. Besides that, give me all the mystic siddhis which someone can have. It's almost like invincibility. Amar. So then Brahmaji said Tathastu and went away. And then it is said he got this power, he went to Indra's abode. Somehow this is not moving fast. He went to Indra's abode and then drove all the Devtas away, and he sat himself on the throne. He was always drunk on the liquors. His coppery eyes were always rolling. Anyway, after a lot of torment, when the demigods were very much troubled and punished by Hiranyakashipu, they went to Lord Vishnu and asked for some respite, some help. So then it is said that there's a voice which came from the sky, loud voice, and it said, Yada deveshu, vedeshu, goshu, vipreshu, sadhushu, dharme, mai, cha vidvesha. Anybody who is against these 7 things, against the devatas, deveshu, vedeshu, who is against the Vedas, goshu, the cows, vipreshu, the brahmanas, dharme, against dharma, and mai, against me, sa va ashu vinashyati, he will get destroyed very soon. So why this example was given? That even if such big controllers who could control the devatas, he also had to finally perish. So that is this material world which is made so that one is ultimately brought closer to God. There is, okay, we have, and finally I would like to give 4 reasons how this material world is meant for tilted towards suffering. Just like I remember when I was in my childhood, in my home, there used to be this teacups, cup of a tea. So it looks bigger from outside. It looks a steel cup, big from outside, but from inside it is this much only. So the guest, when he holds the cup, he thinks there's a lot of tea in it, but it finishes in 3 sips only. That type of, we had it. You might have. And converse to that, some of the brahmacharis, they have a cup which is like, the entrance is small, but the lower part is so big that you start pouring the juice, the jug finishes and they said, it's not even filled. So that is another type. The entrance is so small, but the capacity is very big. So it's like material and spiritual in the sense that one is the duration. The duration of material pleasure is, it lasts for very short time. It is just like you have some gulab jamun, you will feel. It is said, just like any eatable, it has no taste when it is on the plate. It has no taste after it has passed the tongue. 2-inch, maybe 2-inch tongue. That is the place where the taste is. Once it's inside, there is no taste. Once it's, before that, there is no taste. So that is that short time. And if you happen to bite your lip or cheek, then it will last for so long, at least 1 week. So that is the duration of material pleasure and material distress. We are comparing pleasure and distress. Second is intensity. That suppose you got a nice sleep, very pleasurable, very restful, very relaxing. But you get up and hit your head on some pointed object. The intensity of the pain is so much that you forget whatever 6 hours, 7 hours of sleep we had. So the duration of pleasure is less, the intensity of pleasure is less. And then the variety. It is said, suppose the variety in which you can give pain is so much. Suppose there is this finger is there. Maybe you can give pleasure to it by massaging it, some oil, some warm sesame oil. But the types of pain which you can give, maybe pin, you can put a pin through it, you can cut it, you can take a sandpaper and rub it, you can put oil, hot oil, burn it in fire. I mean, just sitting here, I can say so many things. So, but giving pleasure is so less. So, variety of pain, this world is designed that every pore of our body can give more pain than pleasure. 3 things I have mentioned till now. The duration of pleasure is less, the variety of pleasure is less compared to the pain, and the intensity of pain is much more. And then finally, the tuning of our mind is such that we are more tuned to pain. Suppose we have a nice tasty mango season coming up now. So after that, if there is a small thread of the mango stuck in our teeth, then our tongue will again and again go to that. Nikalta nahi. So our mind is tuned to that pain so much. So that's why this material world is made in such a way that it is programmed, particularly programmed in such a way that we don't feel totally comfortable. It is explained that this universe is like 14 planetary systems, and Earth is in between. Visualize it in such a way that there is a big, huge building with 6 floors above, 1 is the ground floor, and 7 floors below. Suppose if there is some earthquake coming, 7 floors are below, somebody is on the ground floor, and 6 floors are above. So which is the best floor from which we can escape fast? Ground floor is the best, right? Not the basement, surely. Upper floors, maybe you can get out fast, but you may not survive. The fastest way and the best, safest way would be ground floor. So this Bhuloka is made in such a way that there is a balance of pleasure and pain. You are not so much painful, like in the lower planetary system it is said you get a body called as Yatana Deha. Yatana Deha means so many sufferings are there. Sometimes you are, many types of hells are described in the 5th canto, fried in the kadai. There's something called as Tapta Surmi, a place where there's copper, no shelter, no trees, no buildings. The sun is shining very hot and the person has no place to go. He's just suffering on that copper. Just few, there are many examples given in the Bhagavatam. So to tolerate that, the body which is given is called as Yatana Deha. One does not die. He just falls unconscious and remains alive again. So there you cannot remember Krishna or do bhakti so well. Similarly, in the upper planetary system, there's Bhog, Nandan Kanan, one enjoyment, so much enjoyment that one cannot think of the Lord. This planet is the place where we can get out. That's why Brahmaji prays to the Supreme Lord, Kshuttrit tri dhatobir ima muhur ardemana, Shitoshna vata varsher itareta jana, Kamagnina achyutarasha cha sudur. He's saying that this world, he's praying to Lord Vishnu, this world is in such a way, person feels hungry every 4 hours at least. Somebody might feel very soon if he is in a very cold place. I remember we were in Rishikesh for some time in December month. Within 1 hour, again there is some fire in the stomach in the winter seasons. So Kshut, Trit, one feels thirsty after some time. So externally so many issues with the body. Hunger, thirst, Tri Dhatobir Ima Muhur Ardeman. Always there is all kind of Vat, Pitta, Kapha. Sheet, Ushna, Vat, Varsher. Winter season just went away, there is too much cold. Ushna, summer, Vat, Varsha is there, rainy seasons. Every time there is so much of trouble. Not only that, externally, internally, Kama Agnina Achyutarusha Sudur Bharena. There is lust inside, there is anger inside. Achyuta means it's not subsiding. The anger sometimes is so much. Achyutarusha Sudur Bharena. So Manasidate me, Brahmaji saying that my mind is sad to see that there is so many problems in this material world. That's why I'll just quickly try to cover. The difference between humans and animals is in such a way that humans can delay gratification. An animal, if he is hungry, he just has it. But humans being, just like Newton was there, that when apple fall on his head, or some say it didn't fell on his head but fell somewhere else, he could have just taken it and eaten it and satisfied his hunger, had a nice taste. But he thought, why it fell down so straight down? It could have fallen sideways, or maybe it could have, why it fell down, it could have gone upwards. So that's the way like human being can delay gratification. He can say no. They can do we did Ekadashi, abstain from grains. So that is one thing, that's called determination. And second is metaphysical inquiry. Metaphysical inquiry means that one can become aware of its own thoughts. What are his thoughts, his emotions, what are his urges, and can introspect. Why do I do what I do? Usually as a person ages beyond 45, 50, he starts thinking, why I am such an angry person? Or various people might have various thoughts. Why I am such like that? Initially in the young years, he does not get those thoughts. So self-awareness. Second is like one feels what is right and what is wrong. Animals cannot think that. Animals cannot analyze what is this dharma. The tiger does not think that whether it is dharma to kill the deer. whether it is right or wrong. So that is one there. And one is imagination. For birth after birth, the birds, generation after generation, they will make the same type of nest. But human beings will make different types of buildings, different shapes, arts, language. So that is the difference between human beings and imagination. So that is why it is said regulation. Human being can regulate himself. Vacho vegam, manasa krodh vegam, jivva vegam, udaropast vegam. Forces of speaking, anger, hunger. That's why tapo divyam putraka yena sattvam. So that regulation in Sanskrit is called as tapa. One can do tapasya. Just like ABCD is different for different stages of life. For a small boy, A for apple, B for boy, C for cat, D for dog. For a teenager, one who grows little bit, A for Android, B for Bluetooth, C for chatting, D for download. And as one becomes beyond 50, 60, A for arthritis, B can be blood pressure, C, cholesterol, and D maybe diabetes. So everybody's ABCD changes as he passes through stages of life. But there is another ABCD, which is spiritual, which is mentioned in the Patanjali Yoga Sutras, which can help us advance in spiritual life. A is for Ahankar Shuddhi. Dhruv Maharaj is told that Gunadikam Mudam Lipset. When you see somebody who is better in qualities than you, then one can be happy. Anukrosham Gunadhamat. If somebody you see who is not as good as you in qualities, then have mercy, compassion. Anukrosham. Maitri Samanad Anvichin. Those who are equal to you, you can have friendship with them. Na tapair abhibhuyate. Such person will not have miseries. So usually in this association, Ahankar Shuddhi, what comes in between is ego, 3-letter word. In one ad it is said, Eno, काम बनाए 3 मिनट में, acidity. And ego, काम बिगाड़े 3 मिनट में. Longest relationship, it can end in 3 minutes if you have ego. So that is Ahankar Shuddhi, A. And B is Bhuta Shuddhi. You get knowledge of the scriptures. One time there was a school, afternoon time, and after lunch, all the students were sleepy. Hindi class was going on, Ramayana. And the episode, chapter was going on of Sita Swayambara. So all of a sudden, education officer came. He saw what is going on. Okay, this chapter is going on. So he asked the boys, I'll ask you one question and let me see how much you learn. So he told one of the last benchers in blue shirt. Usually last benchers are already sleepy, not so much attentive. He asked, who broke the Shiv Dhanush? So the last bencher slowly got up. He said, sir, I'm really telling I didn't break it. So then the teacher said, I'm asking you, who broke the Shiv Dhanush? You are studying this. He said, I'm telling I didn't come for 1 week in school. You can ask. He told his friend, tell teacher, tell him that I was absent. And his friend also, yes sir, you can check attendance register. He has not come in school. So then this education officer was really surprised how this answer is coming. He told the teacher, what is happening? What is he saying? Teacher said, sir, don't believe him. Last time he was the one who broke it. One window was broken, he broke it. He has only broken that. So the education officer was thinking that Shiv Dhanush, I am asking from Ramayana, who broke Shiv Dhanush in Sita Swayamvar? The boy is saying, I didn't break it. The teacher also is saying that he only broke it. He said, I have to go to the headmaster immediately. He went to the headmaster and said, headmaster said, you just came 5 minutes back. Inspection finish? He said, what inspection? I'm asking and he's saying he didn't break it. Teacher is saying he only broke it. There is about to be a fight. So headmaster said, see, you understood how our school is, you know. Nobody knows what is right and what is wrong. Don't worry, stop this matter here only. I will inquire who broke it. So the education officer said the teacher doesn't know, the boy doesn't know, even the headmaster is saying that I will inquire who broke it. He said, call the meeting of all the board members, trustees. I am going to close down this school. Nobody is learning properly. So he called urgent meeting of the trustees and he said, the trustee said, what happened? Why such an emergency meeting? Anything happened? He explained, the boy is telling like that, teacher is saying he only broke it, headmaster is saying that we will search for the cause. So then the trustee said, why such big hue and cry? How much it costs? We'll make a new one. We'll make a new Dhanush. Whoever broke it. So he said, we will close the school finally. So that is what is, if we don't read Shastra, then Bhuta Shuddhi won't happen. So we should read the books also sometimes and discuss it like we are discussing now. C is Chitta Shuddhi. One has to have mantra, Mana Trayateti mantra, because that is what it controls. One person, he went to a sadhu, he said that I need to do so many things, please give me benediction. The sadhu gave him a Aladdin ka chirag and said, you take this and it will help you. So he rubbed it. So one Aladdin came out of that chirag and he said, what I should do for you? Don't keep me idle. If you keep me idle, then I will eat you. He said, I have a lot of work to do. I have 20 acres of field. You plow it. So after 2 hours that Aladdin came. Or Aka, I have made it. Said, you came so fast. It takes almost 15 days to plow that field. Okay, make a house for me. So after in 1 hour he made a house. Or what next? Now he was frustrated that now I am about to be eaten. He went to the sadhu. He said, this Aladdin is after me. What I should do? Sadhu said, I told you, benediction is like that. Okay, no problem. Do one thing. Put a ladder on your house and tell him that he has to, from down he should go up. Then when he goes up, he should go down. Then down, he should go up. When you need him, you call him, do the work and tell him, then continue. So that is how our mind is. Always ready to eat us. Always ready to trouble us. So mantra, when we meditate on Hare Krishna up and down, so then our mind is controlled. And finally there is Deha Shuddhi. Deha Shuddhi means Prasad. So once there was an air hostess, which was, Srila Prabhupada was on a flight, and Prabhupada was eating kurmura. So this was in Mexico. Air hostess has not seen kurmura anytime. She is in America. So she said, what is that? And she asked, and then as Prabhupada was having it, she took some in her hand and had it. You know, West is like that. So there was Prabhupada's servant and secretary, and they said, we even don't get. And so then she said, can I get you something? Maybe she got little purified. Prabhupada said, yes, maybe some fruits and milk. So the servants also said, 2 more. 1 for me and assistant also. Fruits and milk. And after many years, so this flight was going to Mexico, there was a Rath Yatra, and this Sankirtan party was going in Mexico. Hare Krishna, they were dancing. So in front of one house, they saw Tulsi in Mexico. So they thought in America, nobody puts Tulsi in front of in their house. Definitely this is devotee. So they went and knocked, and one Mataji came out with tilak and bead bag, and they said, somebody preached to you? He said, when Srila Prabhupada was on the flight, I was that air hostess, and I tasted that kurmura of Srila Prabhupada. So that is what is the power of prasad. Even Narad Muni said, then Uchchista lepan anumodito dvijay. So when he ate the remnants. So I'll just finish. Vidura, when he says mano na tripyati, mano tripyati, so then, and when Yayati Maharaj says that na tripyati vishayeshu aham, that I am not satisfied with sense objects, and spiritual people say that I am not satisfied. So there is a big difference. The big difference is that spiritual is anandam buddhi vardhanam, ever increasing joy, and material is law of diminishing returns. Slowly, slowly it reduces. And not only that, Yayati Maharaj, when as the chapter progresses, at one time he tells his wife that Purusham Purnam Varsha Sahasram me, that I enjoyed with you for 1,000 lives, 1,000 years. Purnam Varsham Sahasram me Vishayan Sevate Asakrit. I enjoyed continuously, but Tathapi Chanusavam Trishna Teshu Pajayate. My desires are increasing, not decreasing. So then the story goes on that when he had got the youth from his son, he gave it back to his son Puru. He took that old age back, and the shloka comes just like a bird. It flies away from the nest when it grows up. So similarly, Puru immediately gave up all the material enjoyment and became a devotee. So at the last, I would just like to say that spiritual pleasure is such that devotee is drawn more and more to Krishna. And one time Ramanujacharya, he asked Varadraj of Kanchipurna, the Lord in the deity form, that what if the devotee is not able to remember you at the time of death after practicing? So Varadraj said, Vatadi doshena yadi mad bhakta mam na chasmaret. At the point of death, if the person is not able to remember me, aham smarami mad bhakta. I remember that my devotee, Nayami Paramam Gatim. I take him to the spiritual world myself. So with this, I would like to end. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. No time for questions. We'll end over here. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.